Hi everyone, it's Nancy here, aka Kitty Nance. As people who have followed me from Nicole Jones's 911's Facebook group, I asked if people would prefer narration over just some music. I think I've got the technology sorted now, so hopefully this will go on. I'm not sure if I can talk for about the 18 minutes that this video is looking like being, but I'm going to try my best. Okay, so here I'm just selecting some papers. I've amalgamated quite a few past kits into a box and trying to sort of mix and match at the moment. I've got a piece of the Maggie Holmes flea market wood grain paper, and then just a piece of dark grey cardstock from the Scraptastic kit. I decided to just do a board around it. I do tend to keep the branding strips off them. I've got loads in my stash, so I really should probably go through those as well. So yep, just matting that on a darker background. These are my photos that I've decided to scrap. I'm going to put them together into a photo block. I was going to spray this because I wanted quite a more full-on effect, but it didn't really come out, so I ended up pouring mist all over it. This is a mist from, let me just have a look. Yeah, this is one of my most used mists. It's a Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist in, I don't know what the colour is. Oh, Route 66. Absolutely love it because it's a grey, but it's kind of quite gritty and black in the background. Okay, so I'm then adding some sparkly kind of turquoise over it. Again, trying to get a drip effect with this as well. I actually end up covering most of this up, to be honest. For those of you that watched my 2013 top 10 layouts, I done an effect like this with paint. I think I prefer the mists with it though. Okay, so just adding some white dilutions. I absolutely love this mist ink spray. It's a really lovely white colour. Of course, I'm really impatient trying to wait for it to dry. I'm going to cluster my photos up in the top left hand corner, realising that they don't quite, the ink I've done doesn't quite cover a whole base of the photos. As I say, they end up getting covered up anyway, but I'm going to add more mist here and try and get that to drip down the page in some kind of way that I want it. This did actually buckle the paper quite badly while I was doing this, so it's kind of a good job that I did back it on another piece of paper. So here I am, impatient, waiting for it to dry, so actually taking a lot of the white colour off in the end. I tend to use my ATG for most of sticking. I use that with the Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue. That's a small white bottle of glue that you'll see me using. These two photos are of the waterfall kind of river in Scotland from my holiday in 2012. There'd been a flood the week before we went, so there was loads of water which made really nice sort of rapids. This is a piece of paper, I'm not 100% sure where it's from. If anyone does want to know, give me a shout, leave me a comment below and I will find out. It was just a bit I've had in my stash. It came in a kit, I believe, probably a Scraptastic kit. So I've dismounted those and putting them up in the corner. I'm adding another piece of paper which is a white with a turquoise dot on it. I like to cluster these on top of each other. It is slightly different in this layout, however, though, because the double photos does make it quite a large portion. Here I'm looking through other paper pads, actually settled on one from the pier, just trying to look for another colour to add another layer. Still got quite a lot of this paper pad left, so I really should do some layouts with it. This piece of paper I thought was too green. I decided to go with this more turquoise sort of based paper. So I just chopped that in half any old how, to cut it up. Okay, so I'm adding my layers in behind my photo block. I did cut this paper by hand, but I needed to trim it up anyway, so I just straightened the edges while doing that. Of course, I've got my doilies out. On this page I actually used two different colour doilies. So one is from the Do Crafts, which I've got lots of different colours from, and this smaller one is actually a Stampin' Up doily. So I'm actually layering them here, and as normal I cut them up, don't want to waste them, even though I've got a huge pile of them. I was going to put this other doily up on the photo cluster, but decided to put this on the bottom. That piece of vellum I just used was from an English store called Paper Chase. It's actually more of a tracing paper, so it's got a sort of pale grid on it. So I'm just cutting that up and adding some more layers. I decided I want to use a bit of this turquoise peer paper on the back, so I've actually cut a small bit which you're not going to see because it's going to be behind the photo mat. So I'll use that in the bottom cluster, and I'm just going to cut another bit of the vellum to go on top of that. Okay, so decided that I needed to put some mist on the bottom there if I was going to add a cluster there. So now is when I'm trying to stick it all together, which is when it normally ends up not looking like how I planned. I'm just adding a little bit of glue to the middle of the photos there, because where I've mapped them on the cardstock, it's not gone all the way across the glue, so in case I want to tuck anything under. So I'm just adding my pieces of paper. I add glue to the middle so I can tuck bits under. Okay, so here is where I'm sticking the doilies under, and that's where I'm using the Cosmic Shimmer glue, just straightening up the photo there. So I've done a layer of doilies. I actually preferred it how I had it there with the white underneath, but I ended up going with the white on top. So I'm adding the pale green doily between the layers, trying to decide where abouts I want that one. I actually end up cutting those into little banners, which doesn't really show in the end because I tuck them behind quite a lot. So, but I tend to just put it in a banner and moving it around, because I did actually cut that one a bit short, so I just end up moving the doily across. And again, just tucking that behind the layers. I'm cutting the other piece of vellum into a banner piece as well. And that's just going to be my other cluster at the bottom. Still not sure whether I'm going to put that doily anywhere, but I decide it looks more balanced at the bottom, so I'm just adding that. And this is going to go over the surrounding grey paper. Just adding the little strips of paper, the piece of vellum. I don't worry too much about the glue showing, to be honest. I tend to cluster a lot on top of things, so I know that's going to get hidden. This is actually a box of Christmas stash that I had. I tend to keep little boxes of things and then don't go back to those boxes. So in here, this stuff's probably about 2 or 3 years old. So I've got some green and white twine here, which I'm going to do. I'm not really sure why I put twine on at this stage, to be honest, because I end up lifting it up and putting other bits on under it anyway. So I'm just adding some washi tape to that bottom cluster. And that's a sort of grey grid washi tape. I'm not quite sure where it came from. I really like it though. Not that I've ever finished a roll of washi tape in my life. Okay, so just tucking this under some layers to add another bit, sticking it over the vellum. Just, as I say, it's really buckled in the middle where I poured the mist on, which is annoying, but I think putting it on the grey cardstock actually stabilised it more than it would have. Here I'm just twirling bits of twine. As I said, not sure why I'm doing it at this stage. It's normally one of the last things I do, but hey, felt like a change. Here I'm just wondering how to do it, twirling it up. I'm spending an excess amount of time fiddling with twine at the moment. Not really sure why. I tend to like twine if it's been kept on a roll, like the one you can see on my desk there. The one I used the other day had been kept on a card, and it had the sort of kinks in from where it had been wrapped round, and I found that really difficult to twirl. So I'm just adding some twine and putting some little twirls in it to add that, and putting it up over the photo just to connect everything there, and then adding up the same in the top. As I say, I'm not sure why I'm doing it here, because it's actually going to end up going over something anyway. Okay, so these are some really old American Craft Christmas buttons. They're a clear sort of button with a white glitter, and then another button with a silver glitter. So I haven't got three that match, but I decided to put the middle one a bit different. Here is my bag of embellishments. This is all left over from a recent crop I went to. I really need to take all the bits out of here because, one, I spend time trawling through it all and bits have fallen out in the bottom. I prefer to go through my embellishments like this because I see bits that, I wouldn't have thought to have used, so I'm just going through and looking at different bits and pieces. I've got some wood veneer from Scraptastic in there. I also have got another 3 pots of wood veneer within my scrapping space. Going through the cutout parts here. I don't actually end up using that. I need to really cut them apart when they come in, just so that, otherwise that one's just going to be an odd one that's going to end up probably on the floor. Okay, so I'm just going through other bits, embellishments, looking at, these are some little resin flowers, looking at some cutouts that came with the Scraptastic kit. These are some vellum words, acetate words that came from Scraptastic. They're from the print shop, but ended up not using them on there. I tried to make this piece work, but it just doesn't. Okay, so here's a little pot of some wood veneers that I took to the crop the other day. I end up actually using these little trees, which aren't scrapbooking wood veneers. I got these on my holiday in 2012 to the Stuttgart Christmas markets in Germany. I was in wood veneer heaven. Wood is a really big thing over there for Christmas. I ended up buying 2 bags of these little trees, and there was about 150 in each bag, so I'm never actually going to use them all up, but I thought it kind of went with the nature theme of this layout. Here I'm adding some really, really old glittery circle stickers that were for card making, I think. I have no idea how long they've been in my stash. So I'm just adding them again as another layer, which is a bit annoying because I'm having to lift the twine up there. So I'm just adding circles to each of the clusters. This is going to pick up with the glitter that's in the buttons as well. This one was really difficult because the twine was going over it. So let's just add a little bit of glitter. So this is my tin that I take to crops as well, which has got some of my buttons, flare and different embellishments in. I was going to add some flare, but I then actually find these little resin buttons. I found the other ones were actually a bit too high. These ones have got flatter back, so I go with quite a nice turquoise colour, which matches the doilies. I actually think they're from the same collection. So I'm just sticking the little wooden trees down. They're quite dimensional, so adding the flowers, which I normally don't do, but actually the clusters will sort of end up being the same height in the end. So just adding that all on. I quite like the fact that that overlapped on the photo. Just trying to decide where to place the flower in that cluster in the end. I decide my title is going to go to left of that cluster. And then just adding the final smaller one. I think there was 3 different size trees, and actually the trees have got little stars punched out of them, so they're really quite cute. Not too Christmassy though. I'm adding some little pearl sort of flat back gems. Again, these have been in my stash for goodness knows how long, so I just add them over. Having a bit of an issue with that little one, not sure where I'm going to put him. I wanted to try and get 3 on the cluster. but I end up putting him where he was originally. Oh no, I changed him out for a slightly bigger one. Okay, so just adding some more gems to that bottom cluster, trying to work out where my title's going to go so they won't be in the way. I think first about this font that I started. The other turquoise I pulled out that was too dark. Then this is a green, but it's actually the wrong kind of green. So I go for this it's a foam thicker in silver. I was just checking my phone there to see if I could remember the actual name of the place, but I don't. But when I go back and do my journaling, which I do when I've got a stack of layouts, I do that. So I'm just checking to see if I can find out, but I can't. So I work the title backwards, so hopefully to fit it all in the space. I've actually got a couple of packs of these stickers, so I thought there's no point in me saving the nice glittery ones, I might as well put them on. And these photos are actually from a trip I took near Christmas, so the glitter and that, will go with that sort of part of the album anyway. It was actually a Christmas sort of coach trip. You go and have a fake Christmas in a hotel, you do a fake New Year's Eve. It's quite funny because the average age of the coach was probably about 70, and I was 28 when I went. I went with my aunt, but it was fun, and say the sights and around were really beautiful, especially because of all the water, and we even saw a bit of snow as well. So here I'm just going through my letter stickers to add a subtitle. I end up going with these mini markets. I really like this grey and cream. I do think I should probably get another lot of those because I know this is my second sheet of those. So my title is Torrent, Scotland. Because as I say, there was torrential rain and flooding the week before we went, so everywhere we went, the waterfalls and everything were really full. And I'll write about that more in my journaling. So here I am studying some more mist. And yeah, that's the layout finished. So I'll add some shots to the bottom. Thanks for listening and hope you enjoyed my first voiceover.